And I am a current senior at Kipworthy's College Preparatory. For starters, I've been a part of the Woods Project since my freshman year, and I've gone from having no experience in the outdoors because my family has never been the type to say, let's go camping, to embracing and admiring every aspect of it. It all started with weekend trips to Brazos Bend State Park, where I got to bike and fish, Galveston Island, where I got on kayaks, and Little Thicket, where I got my first taste of how it feels to backpack. Nevertheless, when my teacher, Ms. Powers, notified me that I would be going to Glacier National Park in 2019, I realized and thought to myself, this is just the beginning. A new adventure awaits me. I was also feeling a variety of emotions, ranging from excitement to anxiousness, because I wasn't sure what to expect from the summer trip. Throughout my visit to Glacier, I had a number of firsts. My first time hiking the backcountry with a 40-pound backpack that constantly pushed me far beyond my limits. My first time seeing a black bear and its cubs in the wild. My first time surrounded without technology, which many teenagers and adults can do nowadays. My first encounter with a herd of bighorn sheep, also known as rams. My first time collecting mountain goat poop for citizen sciences purposes. My first time seeing huckleberries and seeing the creation of huckleberry licorice, candles, lotion, soap, you name it, everything was huckleberry. I took a lot of huckleberry licorice home. It was my favorite. I ate it all the time. And my first time eating a flour tortilla with peanut butter and jelly in the rain. My first time jumping into the coldest water I'd ever felt and shivering until my body warmed up to it. Those are just a few of the first experiences that I could highlight for my truly memorable experience. To also bring light to one of the best traditions while out in the backcountry, the bead ceremony, which was usually held around campfires. After a long day of nonstop hiking, one of the memorable beads that I received was for always dancing, because I always have at least one song stuck in my head, to which I'll casually just start throwing some dance moves. Dancing was undoubtedly one of the ways that helped me cope with the nervousness of being in the backcountry. On the other hand, I gave people in my group beads for always willing to be extremely collaborative, even when times were tough due to a lot of rain. But we always found a way to enjoy that time. At the end of the day, I recognize the significance of the bead ceremony, not only for me, but also for my group, because it really helped us come together after such an intense hiking day by becoming more open with ourselves, despite the fact that we didn't know each other. In other words, it fostered a strong sense of community. After completing a successful summer trip and attending the summer trip unit at Momentum Indoor Climbing Center, I heard many people discussing the Junior Leaders Program and was very interested to know more about it. Shortly after the reunion, I received an email asking if I was interested in applying, and of course I was, and I was accepted. In my 10th grade year, I became involved with the Junior Leaders Program, and seeing other people who also went to Glacier become JLP was very comforting, as was seeing those who also went on different summer trips. It was very incredible, and I felt very special to be part of such a strong community. We would meet monthly and use many of the Woods Project traits, such as critical thinking skills, to come up with ideas and social intelligence skills, to collaborate with one another and share a common interest. So far, one of my favorite events has been the College and Career Readiness Fair, because being a first-generation student can be stressful and overwhelming at times. I also learned about financial literacy, shout out to Champ, such as stock market investing and retirement accounts such as a Roth IRA, which I had never heard of before. Throughout the JLP program, I also had the opportunity to be nominated for Posse, which is something I am extremely grateful for. At the moment, through the partner schools of Posse, my top choice is University of Virginia, UVA, where I hope to major in political science. I'm also a Questbridge National College Prep Scholar and a National College Match finalist.
All right.
Now, to put things into perspective, through my participation in the Woods Project, I have gained many useful skills. I have adapted into my daily life in Houston, especially when it comes to these crazy outages, like Winter Storm Uri. When I didn't have electricity and the water pipes burst, I was using my backcountry skills to do basic things like boiling water. I hope you now have a better understanding of my experience throughout the Woods Project, and thank you for listening.
I would like to first and foremost say that as time has progressed, I've grown a fear of public speaking, and I apologize if I'm shaky or quick with my words.
Perfect.
Good.
You're fine. While I am terrified, I choose to carry myself with confidence, as I know at some point after this short speech, I will be warmly embraced by one of the Woods Project leaders with a "good job" or "you did great." I think that you do it now.
Good job. You're doing great.
I think that type of reassurance is why I'm here. Why I'm very willing to see past my fears to share my story and how the Woods Project has impacted my life. Summer trips, as you saw in the video, have two parts. A week in the cabins in the front country with an educational partner and a week of intense backpacking in the back country led by the Woods Project volunteers. Both were absolutely amazing. During my summer trip to Yosemite National Park in 2017, every single day, every single hour was filled with something new. But my favorite memory, if I had to choose, was my first time hiking to the top of a beautiful snowy mountain. Just in case you've never hiked to the top of a beautiful mountain before, one tends to look down at their feet to ensure you aren't stepping or slipping, to ensure that you're not gonna fall or something. It was not until I got to the top that my constant worry was overshadowed by the jaw-dropping beauty of the horizon. Surrounded by mountains as far as the eye can see, I felt at peace. I felt proud. I just hiked up a mountain. I pushed through a steep hike with a heavy backpack and had incredibly sore feet. And it might be because I'm used to Houston, but breathing the crisp, cool air at the top of the mountain just felt better. Now, it wasn't until I came back home and tried to describe to my family what I saw and what I accomplished that I realized I had just truly learned the meaning of seeing something so beautiful and doing something so important that not a single word could do it justice. I was speechless. The Woods Project continues to impact my life back here in Houston in college. Really. When I stay up late to finish a paper or to study for a test, I can imagine myself back on the trail, hiking towards the reward of the top of the mountain, and remind myself, if I could do that, I can do this. When we can hold on to special moments like these, I have found greater solace in the connection to meaningful mentors and the sense of belonging the Woods Project provided for students like myself, even continuing outside of the Woods Project. Leaders not only show you how much they care about you at summer trips, weekend trips, leadership meetings, volunteering events, but also in downtown when showing you support when applying for a full ride scholarship, for calling me at 6 in the morning, congratulating me when I became a finalist for that full ride scholarship, for checking in on me during a worldwide pandemic. While everyone is thinking about the special mentors in their lives that made a difference, I have to say thank you to Michael Valdez, who isn't here, but thanks to the Woods Project, people like Michael have shown what it means to continue to care about me and my success. I, along with my fellow alumni who are very excited to come to these events, are testament to the impact the Woods Project has on students. We are thankful for every single person who has let us believe in ourselves when we needed it the most and continue to believe in us as they have done time and time again.
The freshman at U of H. So I've been with the Woods Project since 9th grade, usually going on weekend trips around the Houston area. But for me, the Woods Project was my first introduction to camping and everything that falls under it. For example, biking, fishing, hiking, backpacking, and a lot of other great things. One of my most memorable things from the weekend trips was being flipped over in a kayak in what I thought was like alligator-infested waters. And so you can imagine how fast we got back on the kayak. And so I also want to talk about the people at the Woods Project. The people at the Woods Project are people who really care for the students and care to make the experience enjoyable for the students. Because from what you saw in the video, it's really nerve-wracking. It's extremely nerve-wracking to be out there. It's getting out of your comfort zone, being somewhere different, and really pushing yourself mentally and physically. One of the people who really resonated with me this past summer was Michael Valdez. Michael Valdez really embodied what the Woods Project stands for. He paid a lot of attention to detail. He cared for all of us. He really cared for all of us, each and every one of us. And even despite after so many nights of losing sleep because they had to plan for the next day, the itinerary for each day, after losing so much sleep, after driving so many long hours. Like, this man was exhausted. You could see it in his face, but nevertheless, whenever you asked for him for help, he was still so willing to help you, and with that kindness in his heart. And honestly, that resonates with me, and really, and my bad, guys. What I want to say with that is that he really represents the collective at the Woods Project. The Woods Project are people who care for you and really want to see you grow. These are people who outside of like the camping trips, outside of like the having to push you to go out the hike and everything, they still care for you. They're just a loving family, the loving community that it really brings you together whenever you go to these trips. One of the things I also wanted to talk about is that I think the Woods Project does really well is taking our phones away. As a teenager, I often find myself scrolling through social media, scrolling endlessly, mindlessly through social media, and just not really absorbing anything, not really learning anything useful for my life. And what the Woods Project does, the weekend trips and the summer trips, what they do is like really give you an opportunity to live in the moment. And we often don't do that. We often neglect like the basic, like we often forget to be grateful for the things we have. And everyone, okay.
You're doing great.
Living in the moment for me is like a mindset. From what you saw in the video, the beautiful landscape and things you don't really get to see here in Houston are what really get.
You're doing great.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I'm
Just felt it so good. Do it without having all this wine.
You should have had some wine.
Speak from the heart,
So
bro.
Gustavo, tell me about Mount Langley, your junior leaders trip.
so about
There you go. There you go. There you go.
So about Mount Langley this past summer, one of the things I really appreciated is like it was a smaller group this time around. We definitely had to push ourselves as such a small group. We had to push ourselves and get to know each other and get to know each other's strengths and weaknesses to be able to hike up such high elevations. And one of the things that we kept commemorated a lot for is that we were supposed to what's it called?
Summit?
Whenever you summit, we were supposed to summit the Mount Langley, and unfortunately, not all of us were physically capable of getting there. And one of the things that the Woods Project really pushes is like character traits such as social intelligence and critical thinking. We as a collective decided to meet a stopping point. We couldn't go farther, and honestly, as a collective, we wanted to make sure everybody was in their comfort zone and feel content for where we arrived. And so we made the choice of making a stopping point and then just hiking back down. But the trip nevertheless was just awesome. We went to camp next to a river. We went to see the huge red sequoia trees, which are just a beauty of nature. Immense. It really puts into perspective like the kinds of things nature can produce. And so with that, I hope I portrayed like everything, how much of an impact the Woods Project was for me, even though it's hard for me to word it. I hope I portrayed the impact of the Woods Project on me, and I hope you guys fall in love with it as much as I did.